Hello and welcome to this edition of Group Talk, where you'll be learning about increasing productivity by making connections. You'll be hearing from myself, Adam Lazarus, Product Marketing Engineer, Don Friedel, Marketing Manager here at GBS, and Daryl Pereira, DeveloperWorks Web and Social Media Manager at IBM.
So I am Don Friedel, the Marketing Manager here at GBS. So without further ado, we'll get things started. Okay, so today we're talking about connections and how it can increase your productivity, so how social collaboration can help you work smarter. One of the things that it allows you to do is share your files in a common repository so that everybody isn't having personal files on their individual machines, but allowing you to place those all into one spot where you can easily share those files via allowing people to access and download those, as well as collaborate on those files. So being able to make comments, review files, actually flag them with like stars and rate those type of files. So it makes it very, very useful for the people within your organization to be able to share information as well as mark those files and make sure that the people who are looking for information are getting the most valuable and most up-to-date information that they're looking for. One of the other things that Connections helps you to do is keep track of different projects within your organization. And I keep saying within your organization, but keep in mind that Connections can be installed in many different capacities, and we'll be talking about a handful of those today. I'm just classifying it in one context just to get through the general information, but keep in mind that you can be using it on a broad number of approaches, and again, we will talk more about those as we go through today's presentation. You can keep track of what's happening in your different projects based on the different components within Connections. So again, you have that file sharing capability, but then you also have the ability to set up things like wikis and communities in order to share information and really make something much more collaborative and much more user-friendly for your entire organization. In addition to that, it allows you to keep information in regards to what people do and what their expertise is all in one central space. So one of the things that benefits this is if you're looking for someone who has a specific expertise in a specific area, but maybe you don't know who that colleague is or even that they exist in some instances, because your organization could be so diverse and so vast and cover such a wide geography, such as something like IBM, where they have, many continents and hundreds, if not thousands, of employees that cover many different aspects of the business. Being able to have a profile where you could search for expertise on a given subject makes things very, very useful. Here within GBS, it becomes very useful for all our wide variety of applications that we host and offer, because, again, you might not necessarily know of a specific colleague, but if you're searching for a specific topic and their name comes up as someone who has expertise in that, you could very easily reach out and just say, introduce yourself, say, hey, I'm looking for information on this given topic, and I see that you have knowledge in it. Could you help me out or point me in the right direction? So it makes things very, very easy to find. The other thing that it allows you to do is quickly create new content and share that content with other people. It allows you to keep versions of different documents so that you can kind of keep an archive of what's going on and how things have changed. So if somebody makes a change to a document that didn't get approved or needs to get reverted back, it's very easy to do that using the Connections facilities. So there's a lot of benefits to using Connections and how it can make your business more productive. One of the last things is the most important thing, which is being able to exchange ideas with people who have of a like mind. So being able to make that collaboration so much more robust and get the value out of that within your organization, if it's an internal-facing instance or within a community such as something like Lead Yellow or public-facing instance of Connections. So there's a lot of different capabilities that you have within the platform that allow you to work smarter and more productively within your organization. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to pass the ball over to Daryl and let him talk a little bit about the value of social collaboration.
Thanks a lot, Dawn, and hi, everybody. So in terms of the value of social collaboration, I think Dawn did a great job of pointing out some of the tools that have available and some of the benefits they can bring. But what's the payback? What do we actually get from using these tools? Where do we see the value? We brought it down here in IBM. We use this construct of 3 key areas which these social networking tools bring to us. The first is that it allows us to be more engaged. So it connects people, whether it's customers, partners, employees. We're more engaged as people, as networks driving together. As networks that can drive innovation. We can move things forward. We can collaborate better in terms of, as opposed to working individually in our own spaces and in our own, say, in our own cubicles. And for example, here it could be that in terms of, say, internal communications. In the past, a lot of times, a lot of messages would come top-down. Maybe there's a communications department that would put out, a message according to, as it is, according to the upper management. Using these kind of tools, whether it's through a blog or whether it's through a wiki, putting out this information allows an organization to be much more engaged. The core information can still come from the top down, but there's the ability for those anywhere within the organization to give their feedback and their perspective, which can help, which can really help an organization become more collaborative, become more democratic to a point, and also to allow everyone to have their voice. Secondly, organizations can become more transparent. By this, we're really looking at breaking down what are unnecessary and have traditionally been boundaries, both inside and outside an organization. So inside, it could be, for instance, sales department being able to share information or being able to access information being put out, say, by a support department or internal research and development, and sharing information both ways. It can also go wider than that, and going outside of the organization. It can allow transparency between an organization and its partners. They can share information, and especially where you want more porous walls between an organization and its partners, this is a perfect opportunity. These tools allow you to break down some of those walls. So, for instance, it could be if a new product launch is coming out, where you want to share some of the information that you're sharing, say, with an internal sales force for enablement internally. You can also share that externally too with the partners, without having to make a real conscious effort, just as long as making sure that the networks are open to those partners. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, it allows companies to become nimble. Let's say more nimble. There are many companies out there. I'll say I come from, coming from IBM, something that we're constantly grappling with in terms of, we're in a rapidly changing environment. And we need to make sure that we have the ability to be able to move with the market. These networks allow us to speed up business. Part of it is through, say, gaining real-time insight, which allows decisions to be made quicker and better. So, for instance, it could be that we now get a lot more feedback through social networks from our customers. So we're hearing a lot more about our products, and what we can do is we can take that information, we can distill the data into insights, and we can convert that into something, say, a document, or it could be a wiki, or it could be a presentation that can be taken by an internal product development team, and they can work that into their product development lifecycle. So the next release will already have baked in all the feedback we have from customers. So thank you, Dawn. We can move on.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks, Daryl. What you're seeing on the screen right now are some examples of where IBM Connections can be used to increase productivity. In the list that's being displayed, you'll see that utilizing social collaboration technologies allows employees within a company to have access to relevant information much more easily. For example, when I started with GBS, our internal instance of Connections allowed me to understand the hierarchy of employees, like who's working for who I can direct certain questions to, and gave me a feeling for the overall corporate culture that I'm now a part of. That's what the first three items in this list are describing. Farther down the list, there are examples about using Connections as a knowledge repository, which personally I find to be its most useful function. I'm now going to pass the slides back over to Daryl, and he's going to tell you more about how IBM is utilizing Connections in everything that they do and their public instance. So, Daryl?
Okay, thanks, Adam. So here at IBM, as you can see here on this slide, I come from a part of our organization called DeveloperWorks. What that is it's a large online, it's many things. One of them is a large online repository of technical information, which started back in around 2000, 1999 to 2000. But as it's grown, it's also become a place where a lot of experts, whether they're from within IBM, whether they're external, whether it's from within our ecosystem, have the ability to exchange information and ideas across our network. So we have a large instance of Connections that we run on DeveloperWorks, and we use it in both public and private capacities to share information within IBM, across IBM and our partners, and across anyone that's involved in a lot of the technical areas that we cover. And it goes way beyond our own technologies, whether it's just WebSphere or what was previously Lotus and is now IBM Collaborative Solutions. And it also goes into other areas such as Unix, Linux. Now we're seeing a lot of mobile development, Android, XML, RSS, a lot of the technologies that are used peripherally around our core IBM technologies. But I'll run through and I'll give some examples in terms of, if we move on to slide number, to the next slide. Here I won't spend too much time here, but in terms of what we have in terms of the collaboration space on DeveloperWorks, it's very close to what Dawn pictured earlier in terms of having an environment where we have a number of tools available, such as blogs, communities, bookmarks, wikis, all of which can be used by either IBMers or those outside the organization to collaborate and to work more productively. So I'll take a few minutes just to step through some of these tools and these components in more detail. And so if we move on, we can start with first page I'll start with is a home page. And within the Connections environment, every member of Connections will have a home page. In some ways, this is very similar to what you may be familiar on other networks, such as say, Facebook or Twitter. In terms of it gives you an update in terms of the latest activity from those in your network. It's a great place to start in terms of seeing, okay, what are the people that I'm closest to, what are they currently up to. It's also a great place to see notifications if anyone sent you messages, to instantly see whether you have any upcoming activities, anything that may be close on the radar across all the components within Connections. It's a great starting point to see what's coming up. So let's move on. Profiles. And the profile is, as Dawn pointed out earlier, profile is a great way to find other experts and to locate people that share a common interest. I think many of us are used to coming from organizations which have some form of a directory, maybe an internal directory, which may list where somebody is in the organization and show, for instance, where they sit in the organization, in the org chart, and may also provide information around where they and what they work on and what they currently work on. With the profiles within Connections, you can go a lot further than that. You can list out a heavy set of interests.